So this is a video about the difference between drag queens or drag racing and cross dressing. So I'm not sure what spawned this idea in my head. Usually when I come up with ideas for videos, I just have ideas pop in my head, right? So sometimes it's what I observe on social media or just things trending on Twitter. Um, I am not doing this to gen up hate. People can hate watch if they want. Um, but this is the point of the video is why one is more accepted than the other. Um, it's sort of like the difference between cross dressers and what would be considered like femboys or effeminate men. Um, I would say the difference between cross dressing and drag racing is that one is meant originally when it came out was meant as a form of satire and mockery that drag, as we know, drag racing now um, used to be called cross dressing, and it was something usually in Britain on British steamships, usually ones full of sailors, men and stuff, um, because that's usually who held that role. It wasn't really until luxury ships became a thing where women were involved, like they had casinos and stuff like that. But before that, before the era of the Titanic, you had ships with all male crew out at sea for months. And so they would put on shows dressed like women badly. They would dress like women badly on purpose for fun. And they would just do various different things like sing or juggle and just do various different, like, we consider like circus acts, right? So that carried over to nowadays where it's sort of like uh, looked at as like clownish behavior, right? And um, whereas cross dressing is like viewed it as like a more like they're actually trying, right? Um, you're actually trying to look like to pass as a woman, right? That's the point. And um, the point of cross dressing also is that you're not supposed to be able to tell, right? You're not supposed to be able to tell that it's a dude, and if it can fool a woman, then that's the end goal. You know, that's just how it is. Like you look at an example of that would be why men go to Bangkok. You know, why they go to Thailand, lady boys, right? There's some cultures that are really good at it because they've been doing it for centuries. The Chinese, Japanese, stuff like that. They would dress their kids. If they didn't have a daughter and they wanted to arrange a marriage, they would dress their son like a girl. That's just how it was. Whereas deliberately like dressing like a woman, like exaggerated, like where there's clearly a dude, is anytime you exaggerate something, you make it a caricature. And what a caricature is like taking someone ugly or not and pointing out details that they don't like about themselves, like big cheekbones and stuff like that. And that's sort of like um, where drag fits into it, why people don't like it. And this isn't about political, this is just in general, right? It's sort of like, heavy makeup, exaggerated clothing, like as a clowns, right? It makes fun of like all the makeup that, women put on and stuff like that, all the hard work they put into looking the way they do, or, massive exaggerated breasts, or just, weird or strange features. And I would say if your goal is to make people laugh at you, right? If you're looking to like just for fun, um, the bearded lady, right? But it's just a dude with like a neon wig and a really weird looking dress, then whatever. But what I've seen and noticed is there are a lot of people who take it seriously. Uh, where um, they want the benefits that society gives women, but they don't want to work. right? They don't want to put on the work. They still want to be able to mock the things that women do, and people who are actually trying to look like women, like in an everyday life, not like cake on tons of toxic makeup and really really bad hairspray. Um, then it becomes a problem. It's like, no, you're not. How are people supposed to take you seriously? Um, and I would argue that they're not even queer. Like, right? They're not even gay. And the big problem is that they got into the LGBTQ community, and now it's sort of like they've pushed out they pushed out the cross dressers, right? And they got themselves labeled as cross dressers. When I remember growing up in the late '90s and the early 2000s, that the point of that was to so that you didn't know, right? Not everybody can afford expensive surgery, and it's still very dangerous as well. Chemicals, the I think hormone blockers came a long way, but when I was a kid, they were still very dangerous. And the cheaper ones can cause cancer. There can be health complications that can go on. Um, and you you have they manage to get the actual women, angry at the wrong people, right? Instead of actual women and successful cross searchers being mad at drag racers, um, because let's be honest, uh, no man who's actually into ladyboys is going to screw a drag racer. Like, no one's going to do that. I'm sorry. Um, it's weird, right? At that point, you might as well screw a dude. Because I'd be interested in someone who is a man. Why would I be interested in something that looks like me, but with extra steps, right? Like, as a man who's interested in a little bit of everything, if I want if I want to sleep with someone who looks like a woman, I'm going to go to Bangkok. I'm going to go to Thailand, right? Um, there's places to look for that, but like it's um, I would think it's funny. I would think it's hilarious. Like, I feel like I'm going to Circus du Soleil, and I would say a lot of normal people are like that. It's a caricature, right? And really, the if a drag racer is doing that and just to be taken seriously, then not only do they look mentally ill, I'm sorry they do, but they're dressing like a clown and saying, "Don't laugh at me," right? They wanna mock women and the people who are able to look like them, and they want all of the benefits. They want to be protected as women. They want to be able to go into women's locker rooms, and that's a real problem. Like, at the end of the day, it's dude. It doesn't matter how long your hair is. It doesn't matter how much exaggerated makeup you have on. That's a creepy dude, right? And no actual woman or crossdresser or femboy or whatever you want to call them, somebody who's trying to actually blend in with women, would feel comfortable without wandering into a woman's dressing room, right? Because it's a guy that's probably not even attracted to other men, right? And that's where I say where women would actually feel uncomfortable, right? Because you're around with them and their young girls, their daughters, and it's like they have to worry about you now. Whereas like a cross searcher comes in, or an effeminate man who like clearly doesn't like women. It's already weird. It's pretty weird, but that is viewed as more acceptable than the drag queen, right? Because let's say you're in a dressing room and a woman's got her young kids. What that is teaching the young girls is that that's attractive, right? And that's what people have against Drag Queen Story Hour. Not that it's, hey, maybe it's a little bit weird, right? But it's not only weird, but it's saying that you deserve special privilege. You deserve special privilege, and you can't compete against men in sports. So you look just like a dude with a very sparkly wig and a very fat beard, but you want to compete and win against actual men. That's the problem. People who aren't actually attracted to men, right? And one way to root that out, I have to say on a side note, in sports, if you have somebody who dresses like a drag queen and wants to professionally compete against women, bring them into a room full of men and say, okay, sweetheart, bend over. And if that dude then tries to run away, they get disqualified, right? Because no actual faggot or femboy or crossdresser worth their weight will turn that down. And that's what this is about. Is that I would, if people don't believe me, I strongly suggest just what's word, looking it up, right? I'd say even people get into cosplaying. What's cosplaying, right? A dude's able to cosplay as a woman, right? I would say that maybe they're doing it for fun, but look how much work they put into it, right? Look how much work they put in. How serious they are is actually like, it tells a lot, right? And even if they're not thinking about it, subconsciously they're thinking about it, right? So either they have girlfriends or wives, or they're not straight. And that's the only notable exception I would say is cosplaying, or if you're doing it as a joke, right? It's like, hey, I'm actually a dude, and I'm doing this for fun, right? I actually have a wife with kids. It's like that's the point, right? To entertain, to get people to laugh, like ha ha he he. Um, but uh, I'm seeing that, and it's like, if I were a woman, I would start thinking about why do I hate femboys? I'm just gonna say, why do I hate crossdressers so much, right? Is it because I'm so insecure that I'm already losing the men to little girls, and body pillows, or is it that I'm actually targeting the wrong people, right? And who would I rather have read to my kids? Not a drag king or drag queen. I'm sorry, because women do it too. It's like, one, it's weird that you're wanting special treatment. It's like, treat me like everybody else, treat me like a woman, but I'm not going to put the effort to look like a woman. That's also the problem with being a drag queen. It's effort in the wrong. It's upside down. It's effort upside down. It's effort to look bad. I mean, like professionally, that's what it is, right? And I'm sure if you asked, a lot of drag queens, they'd say, yeah, it's show, right? It's cheaper to do this than become an actor, or to be part of Broadway. That's it, right? Or let's say you want to sell makeup product or something like that, right? And you get more sales as a drag queen. That's perfectly fine. Get your bag, do whatever you want. But a boy and a girl knows what's normal, and they know what's different. Look, they know what's weird, right? And I use this analogy a lot. The king has no clothes. Drag queens are freaks, and so are drag kings. I'm sorry, that's what you're making yourself look like? I think it's high time we stop calling things what they aren't. And then wanting our kids to grow up, wanting the next generation to grow up, no matter if they have two mommies or two daddies. See, we want our kids to be independent, strong, have their own will, go your own way, all this stuff, slay, on whatever we tell them, whatever social media tells them, and they point out stuff that we do that we don't like, and we tell them to shut up. I mean, for God's sake, they get it out enough from their parents and their teachers, right? So what you're doing is you're telling, Tommy and Jenny, it's like, hey, these little, prepubescent kids, this is normal. This is what the boys should want when they turn into men. This is what women should look like. That's what the problem is drag queens are. That it's not only mocking the hard work of actual women, but it's mocking the hard work of people who can actually look like a woman. That's what it is. It's a mockery. How far along am I in the video? 15 minutes. So, I would say to end, this will be on Twitter, where all my stuff lives. Basically, it will be on YouTube as well. To end this video as well, I don't get into politics. I don't get into religion when I can keep away from it, because I know people are so brainwashed against those things that you can't bring them up and people's brain shuts down. I want people to think about what I have to say. And not to brag, but I haven't been community noted at all on Twitter. So my goal as a content creator is to point out things that everybody knows, but it's too chicken shit to say. That's my goal as a content creator, not to make friends. People want to ask me why I don't talk to people on social media, that's why. There's a lot of good content creators that lost their way because they got involved with other people. Right? So, I'm sick. May not sound like it, but I am actually sick. And if anything happens to me, this is what I'm leaving behind. And I want people to think and take it seriously enough to where they'll actually talk to other people about it. Right? If you hate me for what I'm saying, fine. But that means you'll watch it anyway. You'll watch me anyway. And if you watch something out of hate, then you're still thinking about it. And you think about something more because you hate it than you do if you agree with something. So, just because your parents tell you things or people in society tell you things you don't like or they seem mean, those are the people that love you. The people that seem like they hate your guts and they're telling you shit you don't want to know, those are the people that love you. The people who are kissing your ass and fingering your butthole and telling you it tastes like chocolate with sprinkles, those are the people you should watch out for. I think the last thing is ask your parents why they don't have friends. Ask your parents why they don't have friends. Because when people get married, the friends leave. Because it reminds them how miserable they are. Those aren't your friends. People don't have friends. They don't have friends, they have hangers-on. Everybody wants to be a social media star. Everybody wants to be in the right group, right? So, groups be damned. Get fucked and all that. But I don't care about being in a group. I'd rather be on top of a mountain waiting for everybody else to catch up, and if my corpse is found on top of that mountain and people finally catch up, then at least they'll have videos to watch. My voice will still be here. You can't run away from it. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and please think.